Welcome. Tonight, we bring you a new story. A story so terrifying, it will send chills down your spine. Dark nights, empty hallways, and a secret. A secret no one has ever heard before. Get ready, because this is not just any story. This is horror at its finest. The Cursed Road. In a quiet village in Western Europe, there was an old abandoned road known as Raven's Hollow Road. Decades ago, it was the main route connecting the village to the nearby town, but after a series of horrifying accidents, the road was shut down. Locals whispered that those who traveled on it after midnight were never seen again. Some claimed to have heard screams coming from the darkness, while others spoke of shadowy figures standing in the middle of the road, only to vanish when approached. Despite all the warnings, two best friends, Elias and Daniel, decided to test the legend. It was just a road after all, or so they thought. One evening, as the village prepared for a storm, Elias and Daniel were hanging out at an old cafe. That's when Daniel, smirking, said, "I bet the stories are all fake. Let's go there tonight. Just a quick walk, and we'll prove it's nothing but superstition." Elias hesitated. He had heard his grandfather say that the road was cursed, that it took more than just lives, it took souls. But not wanting to seem like a coward, he agreed. At exactly 11:45 p.m., under the cold silver moonlight, the two friends arrived at the entrance of Raven's Hollow Road. The trees on either side swayed violently, whispering secrets in the wind. The road stretched ahead, disappearing into a thick, unnatural mist. As they walked, the silence was unnerving. No crickets, no rustling leaves, but just an eerie stillness. The further they went, the colder the air became, and the mist thickened. Then they heard it. A faint, distant scream. Elias stopped in his tracks. "Did you hear that?" Daniel forced a laugh. "Just the wind." But his voice wavered. Suddenly, a flickering street lamp up ahead revealed something that made their blood run cold. A lone figure standing in the middle of the road. It was tall and motionless, its face hidden under a hood. Elias whispered, "Maybe we should go back." But as soon as they turned around, the road behind them was gone. Instead, there was only darkness, an endless, suffocating void. Panic set in. This isn't possible," Daniel stammered. A low, guttural voice echoed through the fog. "You shouldn't have come." The hooded figure moved, not by walking, but as if it was gliding toward them, and its body twisted unnaturally, its limbs jerking in ways no human should move. The air grew thick with a putrid smell like rotting flesh. The friends stumbled backward, but the road beneath them shifted, stretching longer, as if trapping them inside a never-ending nightmare. Then the screams started, not from them, but from the shadows lurking within the mist. Elias and Daniel ran, their breaths ragged, but no matter how far they went, the road never ended. Then Elias saw something, an old rusted road sign half buried in the dirt. Scraping away the moss, he read the words, "Raven's Hollow Road. Beware, the souls of the lost never leave." His eyes widened. "Daniel, this isn't a normal road. It's a trap. It doesn't let people leave." Daniel's face turned pale. "Then how do we escape?" A whispering chorus surrounded them. Dozens of voices crying out in agony. "Help us! Free us! Run!" Then the hooded figure lunged. Elias didn't think. He grabbed Daniel's hand and sprinted toward the only thing that looked real, the flickering street lamp ahead. The moment they crossed under its dim glow, the road behind them collapsed, swallowed by the mist. The screams faded, the air cleared. They were standing at the village entrance. The road was gone. They looked at each other, their faces drained of color. "Never again," Daniel whispered. As they turned to leave, Elias glanced at the closed road sign. But now, beneath the faded letters, something new was scratched into the wood. "See you again soon." And in the distance, the road's shadows shifted. The shadow of darkness. In a small yet ancient village in Western Europe, St. Martin's School stood tall, a century-old structure made of worn-out bricks. By day it seemed like any other school, but as dusk fell, an eerie presence seemed to creep through its hallways. Students and teachers often complained about strange whispers echoing through the empty rooms at night, old wooden desks rattling on their own, and shadows that seemed to move. Yet, whenever a teacher or caretaker tried to investigate, they found nothing unusual. Elias, a 14-year-old boy, had just transferred to this school. His parents were often away for work, so he had come to live with his uncle in the village. Elias didn't believe in ghost stories, but on his first day, he realized something was definitely wrong. That evening, when he went to the library to collect his books, he felt a presence behind him. But when he turned around, no one was there. Later that night, he had a terrifying dream. He saw a shadowy figure standing in a long corridor, slowly moving towards him. Just as it was about to reach him, Elias woke up, his heart pounding in his chest. The next day, Elias shared his dream with his new friends, Sophie and Daniel. Daniel nodded solemnly. "That wasn't just a dream. Something is really here, watching us." Determined to find out the truth, they decided to dig into the school's old records, buried within dusty archives. They discovered something horrifying. The school had been built in 1920, but in 1954, several students mysteriously disappeared after an accident. Their cases were left unsolved, and the school continued as if nothing had happened. Determined to uncover the mystery, the trio sneaked into the school at midnight through a back window. The long, dark corridors stretched before them, and as they moved forward, a chilling wind swept past, carrying with it ghostly whispers. "You shouldn't have come. Leave, or you will disappear too." Suddenly, Sophie gasped, "Look over there." In the dim light, an old mirror, covered in dust and locked away for years, began to tremble. Within its cracked surface, a shadowy figure emerged. It had no face, only a void of darkness where its head should have been. Slowly, it started moving towards them. Elias swallowed his fear and asked, "Who are you?" The shadow responded in a trembling voice, "We are the ones who were buried here. We are the ones this school swallowed whole." Elias's mind raced back to the records. These were the missing students. Their spirits had been trapped in this school all along. Realizing the mirror was the key to their imprisonment, Elias grabbed a piece of broken glass and smashed it against the ground. The shadow let out a piercing scream as red stains, like blood, seeped from the walls. "This mirror is their prison," Sophie shouted. Without hesitation, Daniel grabbed a metal rod and struck the mirror with all his strength. The glass shattered, and with it, the shadow dissolved into a wisp of smoke. The eerie whispers faded, and the red stains on the walls slowly disappeared. The next morning, authorities discovered a hidden basement beneath the school's old library. It was once used as a punishment chamber where students were locked away. Those who had vanished all those years ago had never left. Their remains were found buried in the dark. Elias, Sophie, and Daniel had exposed the truth. The school was permanently shut down. But some say that if you pass by the abandoned school at night, you can still hear faint footsteps echoing through the halls, as if someone is still waiting. And that was today's story. But was it real or just a trick of the mind? I'll leave that for you to decide. But remember, never walk alone in the dark, because something is always watching you. We'll be back soon with another terrifying tale. Until then, keep your lights on.